Welcome back to LAFB on Media Row. We are lucky to be joined by the agent, when you think of agents, Mr. Leigh Steinberg. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing great. Just another radio row.
Yeah. Just another radio row for him. How many radio rows have you estimated you've been to in your career?
Maybe 40.
Oh, my gosh.
That's absolutely incredible.
But it's grown. It was embryonic when I first started. There like 2 radio stations they call Radio Row. And now it fills up a convention center.
Well, Leigh, I don't even know where to start. You're such a legend in the game. The first thing that comes to mind is you weren't even trying to be an agent when you started. Is this correct? Steve Bartowski came to you, a former high draft pick out of Cal. And how did that relationship start? Because he wanted you to represent him, right? You were just thinking about doing a career in law. Am I correct in that?
Yes. I was a dorm counselor in an undergrad dormitory, working my way through law school, and they moved the freshman football team into the dorm, and one of the students was Steve Bartkowski. He became the very first player picked in the first round, first position of the 1975 draft.
Wow.
There really wasn't organized agentry then. Teams could just hang up the phone and say, bam, we don't deal with agents. So it was very embryonic compared to where we are at this stage. And he asked me to represent him, and there we got lucky. We got the largest rookie contract in NFL history. And I saw then the tremendous idol worship and veneration that athletes were held in across the country. And I thought, you know what? If they would retrace their roots and go back to the high school community, set up a scholarship fund or work with the Boys and Girls Club, if they then would turn around and go to the college campus and repay the scholarship, and then at the pro level put together a charitable foundation where they have the leading business figures, political figures, and community leaders, and then execute a program. So Warwick Dunn just put the 175th single mother and her family into the first home they'll ever own by making a down payment and having Home Depot outfit it.
Oh my gosh, that's a wonderful thing you guys are doing with that. And shouts out to you guys for, making that approach to the community and things like that. When you came to representing players, you represented Steve Young and Troy Aikman at the same time. What was that like as an agent? Because they're battling each other out in the NFC Championship each and every year.
Well, they were. There was a game I recall when it was Pittsburgh versus Dallas in that Super Bowl. I represented every quarterback on both rosters.
Wow.
But that's not a problem. What really is a problem is when you're representing the defensive back who picks off and they're both your clients. Or when I had like Bruce Smith or Howie Long and they sacked Warren Moon or Drew Bledsoe. That was tough.
That was clearly tough, man. And you just brought up some more names that I didn't even know you represented, the Bruce Smiths, things like that. We got to be honest, we're huge Jerry Maguire fans. How'd you become a part of that film? Because it's iconic. Tom Cruise is pretty much playing a version of yourself. I mean, that's as cool as it gets.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cameron Crowe, the writer-director, had done a film called Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Love it.
I thought was really funny. And he asked if he could follow me to do a film that would be predicated on a sports agent. And so he came to the 93 draft with me where Bledsoe was the first pick. He came up to the press conference with Bill Parcells. He came to Pro Scouting Day at USC, to the league meetings in Palm Desert. He came to my Super Bowl parties, which we do every year. And I told him stories, lots and lots of stories. And then he asked me to be technical advisor, so I vetted the script to make sure the willing suspension of disbelief that you need to hold you in a picture so that you don't believe the dialogue's stilted or phony or the look is wrong. got preserved. And then he assigned me some actors like Cuba Gooding Jr., who I took to the Super Bowl in Phoenix and made him pretend he was a wide receiver all week.
Mr. Tidwell, if I remember
Yes,
correctly.
Rod Tidwell.
Show
Yes.
me the money.
Show me the
And
money.
Madman's got some questions over there. I've been hogging the mic, Lee. I got to give it over to my guy.
Not at all. Well, Lee, how have you kind of seen the profession of being a sports agent sort of evolve over time? And we're sort of now with social media and, so many more kind of sponsors involved. How have you seen kind of the profession evolve?
Well, first of all, the sport of pro football and baseball too exploded with television revenue and luxury boxes and naming rights and fantasy sports. So it all blew up. And then you had the advent of social media, which is, in those early days, if you would answer your own phone, and if you were on the phone and the next person called, it would ring busy. So there were no computers and the rest of it. So this has been, now that the currency is how many followers you have on Twitter and how many followers you have on Instagram. It's a different world. Players are better able to control their image and brand, but at the same time it's got risks and dangers.
That makes sense. And kind of taking it to this week and beyond, Lee, how have you kind of seen the draft evaluation process evolve and, prospects and would love to get your take on that.
So remember when we talked about 1975, Steve Bartkowski played his senior season, played in an all-star game or two,
Sure.
and then he got drafted. Now we have players going off to training.
And we got one of his former clients stepping in right now, Mr. Ryan Leaf in the house.
Who?
Mr. Ryan Leaf, what is going on?
Absolutely.
I'm good. I love this guy. I love seeing him here at this. So I just thought I'd stop.
Oh,
We
of
love it,
course,
man.
Please.
We got
Welcome.
Leaf up
Thank you
next,
so
man.
much.
This is
Who
gonna be
else
awesome.
can we get? Can we go recruit some more people?
Oh man, yeah.
The
it
party
feels
never
like a
stops
secret
at
surprise.
LAFB.
People just
Yeah.
bolting out from the back. It's
Is he,
gonna be
is he
awesome.
telling you the secret sauce on
He is, man. He's giving us all the breakdown. I was
Absolutely.
like, what is it like when you have two quarterbacks? Because he represented Young and Aikman at the same time, right? They're playing in the NFC Championship pretty much every year. He goes, that's one thing. Imagine representing the defensive back that's picking off the quarterback I'm representing. So I'm like, man, this guy, absolute stories for days.
So
dude.
when he showed up at my house in Montana, he just brought this box full of like memorabilia signed by all these quarterbacks, and then he brings out his little black book and proceeds to get me on the phone with Steve Young and Troy Aikman, and like, how do you say? I can't go with you now. This is silly.
Once you get that going, I mean, you're a quarterback. Those are the guys.
Yeah.
Your era. I mean, come on, dude. You're not going to say
And
no
then
to
he
that.
signed Drew Bledsoe, and Drew was the quarterback ahead of me
Washington
at
State.
Washington
Yes,
State. So I was
exactly.
like, whatever Drew said to me at that point, I tried to do whatever Drew said, and so if he said go with Lee, I went with Lee.
Man, I mean, we're talking about it, too. I mean, not too bad to have Tom Cruise play you in a freaking movie
Yeah.
either. I mean, that's pretty badass. That's the kind of guy we're dealing with here. Lee, I got to get a prediction on the Super Bowl, man. We got Rams, we got Bengals. The Rams look like the more complete team, but you represented the quarterbacks of your day. Joe Burrow.
Well,
There's an it factor there with this kid that we cannot get over, and it's been the talk of the town all week. Give me your take, man, because I might be leaning towards the Bengals, believe it or not, to pull this guy
Well,
out.
first of all, when you say your day, we just have clients like Patrick Mahomes and Tua Tagovailoa.
More than that, yeah. More than that.
But I grew up a Ram fan.
Yeah.
My father took me to the Coliseum, and we were seated so high that you needed an electronic microscope to be able to see the players on the field. But I fell in love, and then in '94, I was chairman to Save the Rams. We fought real hard to keep them from leaving. And so I couldn't be more gratified. So it will not surprise you to know that I'm picking the Rams.
Picking the Rams.
Love it.
Leigh Steinberg, this was a pleasure, man, and one of the short list of interviews we wanted this week. Thank you so much for coming on, my man.
Well, you can ask Ryan. He'll give you a more technical answer because, now he's a commentator.
Oh, yes.
And-
We've
and-
got our list ready for Ryan.
and-
Got a good one.
And what impressed me at the start, first of all, he was interested in being a role model and was attracted to that. And second of all, he's really bright.
No
Smart
question
guy,
about it.
smart guy. I work behind the scenes at Pac-12 Network, and the people have been raving about working with him there. So great dude. I'm looking forward to talking to him. But Leigh, we just want to give you a big thank you once again, man.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming
What an
on.
honor for us. Thank you so much for the time.
My pleasure.